All right, so let's get into actually building this site. So we're gonna build just a kind of a basic page here for Conrad. Well, we can always update the site later, make it fancier, add some more, extra navigation, things like that. But I think for the purposes of this tutorial and just to kind of get our site up there as quickly as possible, we're just gonna do a little basic site. So, before we get started, one of the first things we want to do is get a plugin that will automatically shrink images that we upload onto our site. Because if you're dealing with a lot of images, especially high resolution ones, those will actually slow down your site. It can actually hurt your Google search rankings as well if your site is loading slowly because you've got these massive images. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is actually go to plugins here, and I'm going to go to add new. And here in the search bar, I'm going to type in Tiny PNG and then press enter. Now, there's lots of different ways to make the images you upload to your site smaller. So this is just one plugin that I found to be really, really easy because it automatically does it. But there's all kinds of sites out there. There's all these software packages that will do this for you. But this is just the way I do it now because I find it's just automatic, which is really nice. So this is what we're looking for here. There's a little panda here. It's called compressed JPEG and PNG by Tiny PNG. So that's basically what I was looking for, is these creators. And I'm going to install now. Okay, awesome. So you can see here it automatically installed it. It says here successfully installed the plugin. So we are good to go. And now I'm just going to activate the plugin. And there we go. Now here, before it activates it, it's asking me here to fill in an API key to start compressing images. So I'm just going to click here. We obviously want to activate the plugin, make sure that it's working. All right, so this is the plugin page, and you'll see here what it does is when I upload an image, so it could be a massive image, which actually they are. When I'm going to show you really quickly here, these are some of the images that I prepared ahead of time that I would like to have on the site. So some of these, I got this from a website that sells stock photos, or you could use your own. But if you look at some of these ones, this one here, it's 14 megabytes, so huge image. It's going to really slow. It's going to load really slowly if I just massively upload the whole thing there. So what this site does, or what this plugin does, is it'll take that image and it will create different versions of it, add these different sizes, and so we can upload that giant image, but then it's going to compress it, to these different. It's going to create different sizes for it, and then when we insert it into our web page, it's going to be smart enough, and it's going to use kind of one of these smaller ones so that everything still looks really good, but also our page loads very quickly. So that's just a really, really kind of good tip that I have. And what's cool about this one too is that basically it's free up to a certain amount. So if you're uploading a ton of images, then eventually it's like a pay-as-you-go service. But for here, it's just for our purposes, the free version is good enough. So we do need an API key. So I'm just going to click here. So I'm just going to type in my name here just to get the API key. All right, so once I opened up my email, the one that they sent me, you can see here they gave me an API key. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it into our area right here. I'm going to save changes. Awesome, so we're done. And if I scroll to the bottom here, you can see that it says connection status. It says that it's connected, everything is good to go, and it tracks how many compressions we've done already. So there we go. So we're all done, and now it will automatically compress all our images. All right, so one of the first things we want to do is go to Optimize Press, which is right here, and let's just go to our dashboard here. Here in the global settings, we can start filling some of these out. So for example, our header and logo setup, we can click on that, and we can upload our logo if we want, or we can upload a banner image, whatever the case may be, and then that will automatically be used, at least in the blog portion of our website. All right, so once we have the logo in here, we can see it there. It's going to get replicated for our different pages on our blog. We can close it down. One other thing that I did want to bring to your attention is that there are these eye icons here. So if you click on them at any time, you'll actually get a video that pops up, and it'll show you what that area does, how to set everything up. So it's a very, very useful feature for learning this particular theme. Okay. One thing I also wanted to bring to your attention is this email marketing services. So you definitely should be building it a list so that you can basically gather emails, and then you can send content out to people that have subscribed to your newsletter. Eventually you could sell them products as well. So you definitely do want to use some sort of an email marketing service. The one that I'm using right now at the time of this recording, both for rock climb tips and for Build with Canada, is Aweber. So you can click on I here to learn how to set everything up. They've already made made a video how to do it, so I'm not gonna kind of make my own here because they explain it really well here. So just click on the eye and you'll see how to set everything up. I've already done this a little bit beforehand. So yeah, basically with Aweber, you do get a free trial with it, so you can click on the link below this video. It's my affiliate link for Aweber, so you can click on that. They'll give you a 1-month free trial, or on the actual main site, I do have a little ad here for Aweber, so you can click on that and it will take you to a page where you can get a free 30-day trial. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking them out. I mean, I've been using them for quite a while and did a lot of research beforehand as to what are the good providers, which ones have really high deliverability rates as well, and these guys seem to kind of always come out on top. So yeah, so definitely this is kind of who I recommend if if you end up signing up with them using my affiliate link. Thanks a lot for the support, and yeah, that's it for that. All right, so that is it for this piece. Like I said, you can play around, you can check out all these different settings. You can click on I to get more information about how to set everything up. But just to get off the ground, get the website going as soon as possible, we don't have to do more than that right now. So let's actually go and start building the page. So I'm just going to click on Save Settings here on the bottom. All right, and now under Optimize Press, I'm going to go to Create New Page. Awesome. So here we get taken to this screen, and here it's asking us what we'd like to create, what kind of a page. And you see down here below, there's different types of pages, different types of templates that they have ready for us to build. So the one that I personally like, I like using this one. I believe I'm using a similar version of it on Build with Canada right now. We can actually preview this here if I click. So there you go. So we can see how it would actually look. And all of this will of course modify, but this is kind of the template that we can use as a base. So yeah, let's use this one to create our website. Here we go. So now name your page. So I'm just going to name it Grizzly Tree Service. Okay, that's what we're going to call it. This is going to be our home page. I'm going to click on Create Page. Okay, awesome. So now here we have the base of our web page, and it's using that template that we just selected, as you can see here. So now all we have to do is just modify these different elements so that they look the way we want them to look. All right, so the first thing that I would like to do is on the top here, I would like to have my logo on the left and then some sort of a headline on the right. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new row. And when I click on that, you can see here I have different options for the layout. So what I would like to do is I'm going to pick this one. So we want 1/3 of that row to be a spot for the logo, and 2/3 is going to be for the headline. So I'm just going to click on this layout, that this is the one that I want, and click on Insert into Page. And there we go. See, there we have it. So now I can add a picture here, and I can, or my logo here, and my headline right here. All right, so to add the logo, I'm just going to click on Add Element. And what's really neat is here's all the different things that you can add to the page. It's really, really neat how they've designed it. So what we can do is type in what it is that we would like to insert. So in my case, I would like to do an image. So here we have all these different types of things I can insert relating to an image. So I just want a basic image. I'm just trying to insert my logo here. So I click on that. And here we have different options too. So you can see this is a bare butt one. This is one with a little shadow border. This is another variation. Here's one with a white border. So, all these different options of how we would like our picture to look, any kind of special effect. So, we're just putting in the logo. We're just going to pick the first one here. Keep things simple. For step 3 for images, we want to select the file that we would like to add. So I would like to add our logo in here. So I'm going to go to my area here, and I'm just going to I just want that small kind of size here that I have of my logo. So I'm going to drag that in here. Let it upload. Okay, there we go. We're all done. We can change the different titles as well if you want, any sort of details. I'm just going to click Insert into Post, just to throw it in there really quickly. So there it is. And I'm going to, you can change all kinds of different settings like the width, how it's aligned, all kinds of things. But for us, we're just adding a simple logo. I'm just going to click Insert, and there it is. Now this logo is a little bit large for our liking. We don't want this giant logo at the top of our web page. So if you want to modify any of these elements, you actually just hover over it and you click on this little pen icon here. So here's what we just saw a moment ago. But yeah, I think this width is a little bit too big. I'm going to want to shrink it. So I'm just going to press 150. I'd like this to be 150 pixels wide. I'm going to click insert. And there we go. This is much smaller, much more manageable. I think this looks a lot better. I don't want this giant logo taking up half our page. All right, so that's it for that. Now here, I wanted to add some sort of a headline. So I'm going to click add element. I'm going to put in headline. There we go. Headline just pops up here. And here I have different options for the headline. So I like this one where it's a headline and there's this little gray underline underneath it. So I'm going to click on that. And here I can type in the header. So I'm going to type in professional tree services. And what I can do is I can scroll down here and I can modify the text here as well. So for shadow, I'm going to select, let's do a dark shadow. For here, we get to pick the font that we want. So I'm going to click here. We have all these different fonts. I'm going to pick Geneva here. For style, we'll leave this as is. All right, that's it. Obviously, I can play around with different settings, make it look different. But for our purposes, we're done with that. As far as headline tag, I can select the tag. So the H1 would be a header 1, which means it'll be a very big size. And as we get into header 2, header 3, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. So I'm going to make this H1. This is my main headline. I want to make it very, very prominent. So I click the H1. And, don't be intimidated by these settings either. Kind of the best way to learn is you just play around with them. You try different things, and then you'll see sort of what each one does a little bit. But I'll try to cover a lot of them in this tutorial as well. So, we're done that. We just click insert, and there we go. Awesome. So we actually have our text all ready to go. And here you can see we can add another element. So we can add another thing underneath here. So yeah, let's do that. Let's add another headline because we'd like to have a little subheadline. So I'll click on headline. And this time I'll just do a standard thing, nothing, no underline, just a standard headline. And here I want to put in who we're serving. So I'll say, this is a tree cutting company, a tree service company. So we only service certain local areas. So I'm going to say serving Kitchener. Okay, awesome. So I just typed in what I wanted my sub headline to be. And here, let's just stick with the default, see how it looks. And here we'll make this H3. We want this to be much smaller than our primary headline. So I'm going to scroll down, click insert, and let's see how it looks. Okay, awesome. So this is how it looks like right now. Now what we can do is if we want to see how it will actually look on a web page once it's live, you can click here on ShowHide Controls. And you see when I do that, it closes all that down. So now we see how it will actually look on a web page. So, so far we're doing good. We've got the top here. We've got our headlines. We've got our logo. So now let's open that up here. And now we do have this row here from our sample where it has this sort of a headline here. Now, we already have a headline. We're not going to be using this at all. So if you wanted to, you can click here just to delete this particular headline, or you can click here to delete this entire row. So it will delete all of this right here. So let's delete this entire row. Click OK. There we go. Awesome. So now if I do a little preview, this is how it looks like so far. Okay, awesome. So, it's starting to look a little bit customized. All right, now the next thing I want to do is change the color of this background here. It's blue, we're a tree service company. I don't want to, I want to have it maybe green or brown or, something tree looking. So if I want to change the background of this entire row, which is all here, this whole kind of segment right here, I'm going to click on this pen icon. And here, if I scroll down, I can see the colors that are currently used. So it kind of fades going from a light blue to a darker blue. So what I can do is I can click here and I can move this over to green. There we go. And I can now position how I would like it to look. So let's start kind of with this, somewhat darker green color. And we will finish off with like an even darker one. There we go. So let's maybe give that a shot, make it a bit of a green color. So we click on update. And there we go. So, there's our background right there. All right, now here on the left, we have a placeholder for a video. Now, in our case, it'd be cool to have a video, but we actually don't have one for him. We just have an image that we would like to insert here. So, I could delete and then I can click on add element and add an image. Or what you can also do is you can click on the icon there and see here we have step 3 video player. We can actually click back here on the arrow. See, and we can go back as a few steps here, all the way back to insert an element. So here, I can type in image. Once again, I click on images. And with this one, we don't want it just to be bare. We want it to be maybe a bit fancier. So I'll scroll down. Let's see. And I like this one. It has a little white border with some rounded corners. So I'll click on that. And now I select the image. So I'm going to select file. Go to where all my images are. And I would like to move this one over. This is the one I would like. So I click and drag. It uploads. Okay, awesome. It is all done. There we go. So for the title, I'll make it tree service. That's what I'll call it. And here we can scroll down. We can put in other information if we'd like. But just to keep things simple, we'll leave this as is. We'll click on insert into post. Okay, there it is. Awesome. And now we click on insert. Perfect. There we go. So we've got the image. We are all set on that end. See, so our site's actually starting to come together. We can click on the preview button here again. And there we go. It's starting to actually look like an actual tree service website. All right, now on the right side here, I would like to have some sort of a call to action. So ideally in this case, we would like the person to call to get a free quote. So what I can do is I can add an element here, and we can move these around later. So you can see here, I can click on this and I can move it up. I can move it back down. Oops, here, let me move this one back up here. There we go. So let's just add an element here. We're going to I want a big sort of headline here. Type in head again here to get headline. And here, let's do this one again right here. This headline with the little line underneath. And here we can say request a quote, colon. Now, it would be good to keep the font consistent with what we have above. Generally, pages don't look good if they're using 20 different fonts. So, let's stick to Geneva because that's what we used before. And shadow, let's give it a bit of a shadow here. We'll make it dark. And for the color of the text, we would like to make it white. It's on a green background now, so we definitely want to keep it that color. We'd like it center aligned, H2. Sure, let's see how that looks. And we'll click on insert. Awesome, so there we go. There we have it, request a quote. And now I would like this on top, so I'm just going to click here, drag it all the way up. There we go. All right, now for this one, we can modify what it says here. So let's do that. Let's click here to modify what it says. I'm just going to say, okay, phone. Let's provide the phone number that we'd like them to call to get a free quote. And email. All right, now we'd like to make this look a little bit different. So let's maybe make the size a little bit bigger because we can see here on the right that the font is a bit small. So let's increase it a little bit. Here it looks like it's blank. So let's just leave that. Let's see how it looks. There we go. That actually looks pretty good. Now below this, I'm thinking of having maybe a bit of a description as to what kind of services we actually provide in this particular business. So, we've already added these headlines, so we want something smaller just to briefly describe what kind of services do we offer so they know before they give us a call. So let's add another element here. Now this time, we're not going to do a headline. We just want to insert some text. So here we've got different options. I just typed in text. We've got different options. Let's use just a regular text block, nothing fancy. Here we just select the kind of style we want. There's only one here, so we click on that. And here we can type in what we would like it to say. So let's start typing in here. All right, looks good. So this is what we want. Now I would like this to be centered, so I just select it all. I'm going to click Align Center. And what I'm concerned about is this is going to be in black text on a green background, so it'll be very difficult to see. So what I'll do is I can scroll down here to Advanced Options and see I can select all kinds of other information. So I will say, okay, for text, I would like it to be white. And for the text, once again, let's stick with Geneva. It's good to be consistent in terms of the fonts that we are using. And let's make it center aligned as well, just so that it lines up nicely with everything. So I'm going to, that's all for now. Let's just click insert and see how it looks. Okay, awesome. So there it is. There's our text here, our kind of call to action, our description. And I'm going to click and drag it up here. Okay, so it looks pretty good. All right, so let's talk about this box right here. So this is where we would be capturing emails so that we could reach out and contact our potential customers, our existing customers, etc. Now, for any kind of business that I can think of, you basically would want something like this. So this is why I recommend, signing up for an email service provider, like, the one I'm recommending. Just, whether you go with them or someone else, whatever the case may be, it's a very good idea to capture emails for your particular business. So even for this tree service company, they might call for a quote, but maybe, we can send them tips about maintaining their trees, or send them a reminder email after the winter that we can come in and make sure that all their trees are fine, that there's no damage, so that no branches are falling on their property, and things like that. So no matter what business you're in, you pretty much it's a good idea to capture the emails. Now I've spoken with Conrad about this, and at this point he's not looking to maintain this list. He's not looking to sort of do that yet. So we're actually not going to add this in for now. Down the road we'll add it if he's willing to maintain the list and write emails to his ongoing emails in like a newsletter fashion. But for now, we don't want this. So I'm going to actually remove it just for this particular site. Now I am going to show you really quickly how it would look like if we did decide to keep it there. So if you click on this edit button right here. Okay, so here what you can do is in the dropdown, you can select the service provider that you're using. So in my case, I set it up with Aweber, so it shows up there. And then here, I get all the lists. So when you sign up with them, you can basically create different lists. So I would have one list for tree services. You can see here I have this one is for customers for rockclimbtips.com. This is my this one here is for Bold with Canada subscribers. So I would make a new list and call it Grizzly Tree Service, something like that. So anybody that signs up gets added to that list. And here we can put information like where they get taken to once they sign up, what happens if they're already subscribed, where they get taken to, and we can even change the submit button. So here it says get instant access. We can change it to something else. All right, so once you're done all that, you can just click insert. Okay, and it appears here and it basically works. So, that's something that I do recommend for your business. Like I said, because in this particular case, we're just going to build a basic site for now. We're going to worry about this later. So in this case, we're just going to remove it. So just like I said, for 99.9% of businesses, I would recommend having something like this. But in this case, for the purpose of this tutorial, we're not going to build a whole email funnel. We're not going to build this whole sort of process, with your email, sending out automatic emails. That's kind of beyond the scope of this video. So I'm going to remove this for now, and in the future, I'm going to talk to Conrad and we can strategize, how we want to collect emails, things like that. So I'm going to click on X to remove this for now. Okay, awesome. So that's it for now. Let's click here just to see how it looks right now. Yeah, so it looks good. One thing that I don't like is that this here, it's a bit close to the top here. See how there's not much of a space here, so it doesn't look as appealing. So what you can do is you can click on edit, and if you scroll down to advanced options, you can see how it says text block top padding. So padding is the spacing that we have between the actual text. So here, the top padding, so the spacing we have at the very top, we actually want to add some spacing so these aren't so squished together. So what I'm going to do is just put in 20 pixels, and you can play around with different sizes, right, just to see kind of what is the right amount of spacing you want. So I'm just going to go with 20 and click on insert. And see, there we go. It just reloaded, and see now we have a lot more of a space. So now it kind of breaks this up nicely, right? So if I click on the preview, it looks, it looks pretty. Whoops. If I click on the preview, it looks a lot better here. There's some good spacing here, but you know what? There's still, I still think it could look a bit better because these are kind of near the top, and I would like to have these sort of in the center just so that it looks a bit better. So what I'm going to do is also add a little bit of space above here just so that everything kind of looks nice and is centered. So I'm going to click on my quote here, And if I, no, not my quote, sorry, on my headline here. And if I scroll down here, I see top margin, which is similar. So it's just the the spacing above the text box as it says here. So let's add some margin here to the top of this headline. We're going to click insert, and there we go. See, it just added a nice little bit of space. So now I think it looks a lot better. See how it's nicely centered kind of with this, or it's kind of more aligned nicely with this picture. It definitely looks a lot better, I think. So let's keep that. I think it looks decent enough. Now what we'll do now, we've done quite a bit of work, so let's actually go down here and click on, let's go down here and click on save and continue. There we go, the page has been saved. We click OK. There we go. Just want to make sure we're saving our work, obviously. There we go, so it's starting to look pretty good. So let's scroll down, let's finish this off here. So here is what we have from our basic template here. So let's change this text, since we obviously don't want it to say that. And here we're going to just click on drag, and I'm going to say this is services offered. We're going to go down here. We can change these settings, but let's keep them for now. Let's see how it looks. There we go. Services offered looks good. Once again, it's a bit squished. It's a bit too close to the top for my liking. Generally with web design, I mean, you want to make sure that there's a lot of white space. It just makes it a lot more kind of easier on the eyes for the viewer. So let's go back here to top margin, and let's make that 15. There we go. So I think that looks a lot better. We've got a nice bit of spacing there. Awesome. And now here, what I would like to do is add the different services that we are offering. All right, so let's give that a shot. So I'm going to click here just so that we can start editing things again a bit easier. All right, so this row here, let's actually just delete this, because this is just a sample. We're not going to need this at all. And you know what? Let's add a new row, because see, this particular row, this one right here, it's just set up as being one column, and you can tell because this box here goes over the entire width of the page. So what we would like to do is create a row where there are 3 columns, right? Because I would like to have sort of each service that we're offering listed in its own column. So let's add a new row, and here we're going to select 3 columns. There we go. Go down and click insert. All right, there we go. Awesome. So now we've got, see, instead of having just one thing like this, where it's just one column, we now have 3. So this is exactly what we want. Now, let's start putting in the services that we are offering. So let's go to add element. We're going to add a headline. We're going to click on the second one here. And the first service we're offering is called pruning. So there we go, pruning. All right, we'll scroll down. We'll click insert. Perfect. Okay, so there's pruning, and now let's add an image for this particular service. So I'm going to add element. I'm going to do image. Select we just want a regular image here, and here we can pick what kind of image we want. So let's just try with a basic image for now. We'll click select file. And here, let's use this tree climbing one here, where he's climbing a tree. It looks like he's pruning it, so we'll move that over here. Okay, awesome. It is all done here. So I will call this, let's call this tree pruning. We'll scroll down. We'll go to insert into post. There it is. And here we can change different settings, but for now, let's just see how it looks. So we'll click on insert. And there we go. There it is. Looks pretty cool. So we've got pruning. We've got a picture of it. And then down below, let's just add a bit of a description as to what this service actually entails. So let's go, once again, insert an element. We're going to put in a text block, same as we've done before. We'll pick the first one here. And now I've pre-written all of this already before I recorded this video. So I'm just copying here from my one word processor, and I'm just pasting it here. So this is all the stuff we wanted to have added. As you can see here, I have little bullets. So if I selected everything, clicked on bullets, that's what added them. If you're copying and pasting this from a program, and when you paste it, it looks wrong, like it's, the formatting's weird, or something, it just doesn't display correctly. Usually the quick fix to doing this is you would select everything, that you want, and you can click on here, clear formatting, and that will kind of remove all the sort of junk that might have came over when you copied and pasted. And so you can basically start kind of from scratch. Everything is clean and you can start editing it that way. So so once again, the process is just select everything, click on clear formatting, and then you can start formatting how this looks right here within this bar. So this can happen sometimes. Like I pasted some text from OneNote, for example, and it kind of made it look not so good. The text was small. It was like right justified. So just remember, that's kind of the quick little easy tip to make things easier for you. All right, so so that's it. We put that in. Let's click insert. Let's see how it looks. Okay, cool. There we go. So we've got a few bullet points here. We're talking about pruning, what you know, why it's important, why it's good, why you should consider getting your trees pruned by a professional. Awesome. So there we go. We actually just finished our first column. Let's see how this looks right here. So we've got our top. Oops. We've got our top here. We can scroll down. We've got this call to action to give Conrad a call or to give him an email. Ideally, we'd like to have some sort of an opt-in box here so that it's easy, so that it's more kind of user-friendly. Here we go, services offered, and then we have pruning. And then we have our description here. Awesome, looks good. Now I am noticing a bit of a big gap right here between services offered and pruning. So once again, what I can do is, you know, if you're seeing something like this, you can go to one of these and you can change the padding or the margin because that could make an impact. So I'm just going to click here. Okay, there we go, services offered, and let's scroll down here. Here we go. So you see bottom margin, it automatically put a default of 20. So let's change this. Let's maybe make it half that. Let's make it 5. Click on insert. Perfect. Now when we go to preview, there we go. It looks like there's a bit less of a gap now in there. You know, we can always play around with it some more. You know, we can make the margin 0 or the margin of the padding 0. Same with here, we can modify it. So there's, you know, there's different ways of doing that. But let's just add these other two in here and then see how it all looks together. So same process as before. Feel free to fast forward the video a bit if you kind of already have a good handle on how to do this. So I'm just going to quickly do it one more time just in case I went too quickly the first time. So I'm just going to click on headline. We're going to add that in. All right, so we're just going to select this one again here. And for our second service, it's tree cutting. So there we go. We're just going to leave everything as is for now. Okay, awesome. So that looks good. Now let's add the other image. So we click add element. Here we will put an image, click the third one. Once again, just go with defaults, click on select image. And here we're just going to drag in our tree cutting image. All right, it's all done. Tree cutting. We're going to click insert into post. There it is. Looks good. We'll click on insert. Perfect. There we go. Looks cool. And down below, we'll just click on add element. And we will put in that we just want text. Click text block. Click the first one. And now I'm just going to copy and paste. So here, I'm actually going to show you what happens when the formatting looks off. So I'm just copying and pasting it from the software that I use called OneNote. So I'm going to copy. I'm going to press paste and see how there's all the space here. It's a different looking text. It doesn't look the way that like the other one did. And that's just because I'm pasting over from another application that I guess it includes some coding that they try to throw in here when I paste it over. So to get rid of all this, to make it look like the other one, I just selected everything. So I pressed Control A to select everything. And here I'm going to click on clear formatting. See, there we go. And that basically fixed everything. Looks good. So let's go to the bottom, click insert. Awesome. See, and now it looks exactly like the other one. So once again, that's that clear formatting tool. It's a very useful one. All right, so looks good. We're almost there. So here, let's add the last one here. We'll go headline. Pick the second one. And this one we'll call other services. Scroll to the bottom, click insert. There we go. And let's add the last picture here. Select file. And for other services, let's do this tree climbing one here. So we'll click that over. And one thing worth mentioning too is don't be overwhelmed by all these options. So, I mean, the theme is very powerful. There's so many things you can modify and change. But as you can see here, I mean, just to build what we built so far, I'm just going with the defaults. I know I'm barely modifying things, and it's still looking pretty decent. So, if you want to, put in that extra, that extra 110% to tweak all these minor settings to make it look even better, feel free, go nuts. You can definitely do that. But yeah, my main kind of takeaway here is, don't get bogged down by all these options and all these things you could possibly be clicking, because then you'll never build your site. So, just start off with a base, start off with kind of with what we're doing here, and then you can always add to it. You can always tweak it accordingly later. Okay. So that's it. So the image is uploaded here. We'll call this tree climbing. We'll click insert into post. There we go. We'll scroll down and select insert. Awesome. There we go. Looking good. Let's add the final description there. Text block. Click the first one here. And now we're going to copy and paste from our program. So copy, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And once again, the formatting is all messed up. Whoops, I think I just broke something. I clicked the button by accident. So here, once again, Control A, click on clear formatting. There we go. It looks good. We click insert. Awesome. There we go. Looking good. So everything is in there now. We've got our pictures. We've got our description. We've got our call to action. We've got our logo and quick description of what we do. If I click ShowHide Controls, this is how it looks so far. Looks pretty cool. There we go. Services offered. Awesome. So looking good. Now let's, after they've, let's say someone's gone here, they've looked at it, they've read sort of, what they want done. Let's add another call to action here at the bottom because, maybe they've kind of scrolled down. They saw, okay, I could use some tree cutting. They've read this. They want to get in touch with us just so that they don't have to scroll all the way back up. Let's add another final call to action here at the bottom. So we will unhide these controls. We'll go to the bottom here. Actually, before we do that, let's actually save. So save and continue. Click OK. And then one common question you might have is, okay, well, do I just click add element and add it in there? Well, in this case, we would like our call to action to be nice and big and wide. We would like it to be just one column going over the whole width of the page. We don't want it in a small little kind of column, right? So whenever you're switching from going from like a 3 column to a single column, or like here when we were above, right? We did at the very top, we did 1/3 size column here, 2/3 size column. Here we did just one, here we did 2 columns as well. Here we did 1 column. See, it covers the whole width of the page. Here we have 3 columns. So, every time you're switching from going, from the number of columns or the width of the columns, that's when you want to add a new row. That's basically how it works. So in this case, we would like to add a brand new row. So I will click here. And I would just like a 1 column row. I'd like to insert it into the page. Now we would like this to stand out, so we'll change the colors in a moment as well. So let's go to add element. Let's go put in another headline. All right, let's just do a basic headline right here. And here we'll type in our final call to action. Okay, looks good. Now, if we scroll down, I would like to make this on a green background again, just so that they're not just looking at this white background the entire time. So what we'll actually do is I'll click here and let's make this text white. So I just clicked and drag to this corner. Let's also make it dark shadow as well. And let's go down here and click insert. Okay, nice. So we've got a call to action, but obviously it's hard to see because we're doing white text on a white background. So now to change the background of this entire row, once again, just like before, I'm going to click on this pen icon here, go to the bottom, and here I can put in the colors that I want. Now, I do want them to be the same as what I used up here, right? Just to be consistent. So what I can do here is I can go up here. I'll click on this pen again here. And these are the color codes that I have. So what I'm going to do is here in Word, I'm just going to put in, okay, the first one is this. That's the first code. And the second code is this. So I'm just copying and I'm just pasting. Just Control C to copy, Control V to paste. These are the codes that I want. And now I'm going to close this down. Let's go all the way to the bottom. And for this row, I'm going to click on Edit. Go here to where our text is, or to where our background colors are. And I'm just going to now paste those color codes in here. I press Tab, and there we go. See, it jumped right away to that one. Let's grab the second one. Copy. Control V to paste. I press Tab. There we go. Now it's the exact same colors as what we had above. I click on Update. Awesome. There we go. Looking good. Let's do Save and Continue, just to save our work. All right, and you know what? I think we're actually done. Let's go click on ShowHide Controls, see how it looks. Okay, so it does look like I would like to have a bit more padding or a bit more margin here on the top, just because it's a little squished together. But other than that, let's see here, it's looking pretty good. I think we've got kind of our basic website here. So let's quickly, once again, just add that padding. So I'll click here. Scroll down. There we go, top margin. There we go, top margin. So let's make it, yeah, let's try 15 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Click on Show Hide. There we go. I think that looks pretty decent. So there we go. Looks good. Awesome. So let's save and continue one final time here. And what you can do is you can now view it as well as its own separate tab in your internet browser. So let's click on View Public Link. Let's see how it looks. Cool. There we go. Professional tree services, serving KW. You can request a quote here. We've got information about the services being offered, a little description, and a little call to action here. Maybe I should add some padding here on the bottom as well, since it looks a bit squished together. But other than that, you know, I mean, for how long this took us to do, it's, you know, it's not bad. I mean, you know, we can obviously play around with it. We can add video, you know, we can play around with the text, you know, get a professional graphic designer even if you want to design some of these things. But, you know, for our purposes here, just to get a basic website going, we are, you know, we're basically there. Awesome. So now let's actually publish this and make this our main homepage. So I'm going to click here. And once you're ready to publish it, what you do is you go here where it says draft, and we're actually going to click on the drop down and we're going to say publish. Awesome. So there we go. And now we can actually go save and close. There we go. All right, guys, so now to make the page our main page for our site, so that when someone types in grizzlytreesurface.ca, that the page we just built is the one that shows up, what we have to do is, well, the page that we just finished building, we called it Grizzly Tree Service, okay? So now we want to go to Settings, we go to Reading, okay? And now it says Front Page Displays your latest posts. We want to switch that to a static page. So here we're just saying WordPress, we were going to specify what page you're going to show. And then for the front page, we simply go to the drop down and we select Grizzly Tree Service. So the page that you just built and saved, that name would appear right here. This is the only page we've published. So, you know, there it is. We click on that and then we scroll to the bottom. We click Save Changes. All right, what you'll also notice is you'll get this message here saying your site's currently displaying coming soon. Once you're ready to launch your site, click here. So we're just going to click there. And that's it. It says, congratulations, your site is now live. Click here to view it. There it is. Awesome. So now if we actually just go open up a completely new tab, as if we were just, you know, regular internet browsing person, we just go there. We put in grizzlytreesurface.ca. So this is the site we have on our business cards and all that. We click enter. And there we go. It comes up. It's all done. It's live on the internet. Anybody entering grizzlytreeservice.ca is now going to get the site. So that's it. We are basically done. So I mean, I hope you learned a lot. This is just, obviously there's a lot we can do. There's a lot of features in Optimize Press. There's a lot of, tutorials that they have. Like I was saying before, you can click on that eye icon to view specific videos, how to do everything. But, as far as website building 101 goes, I mean, we're basically done. We have a fully functioning website. And of course, you can spend time, tweaking it, making it better and better and better, making it look good. But, but I mean, first considering how little time it took, I mean, I think it looks pretty decent, for kind of our first crack at the site, and then from now, we can play around with the appearance, we can try different things, but we are basically good to go. All right, so congratulations if you've made it this far. You basically have everything you need now to build your own site from beginning to end. And yeah, I mean, let me know what you think in the comment section. Feel free to contact me about this. And of course, the next step for you right now is to actually go out there and promote your business. So, just putting a website up there, people aren't just magically going to show up to it, right? So the next step is, to get people to the site, to promote your site, to promote your services, to promote your business. So, there's lots of resources and guides and courses out there on how to do that. I'll add some of these links down below. So, when I find kind of a course that I like a good one, I'll either make one myself or I will refer you to other people that I know have some really good courses out there, so that you can learn some of these, different sort of tactics to get your business going, but, for now, you're good to go. You're good to start building your site. So, congratulations. And yeah, let me know what you think. Hopefully share this guide with other people that you think would be interested in having their own business on the side, or just, starting their own business. And yeah, I mean, I look forward to hearing from you. Hopefully you like it. Let me know what you think. All right, take care. Bye.